Well, people, we have a lot to talk about. There's all sorts of footage dropping. There's emotions flying everywhere. Dems are lining up to do what Dems do, breaking ankles to politicize horrible tragedy and horrible loss of life for political purposes. The truth is coming out, and people are just ignoring it. And now we're going to start burning things down. Do I have the basic level summation down? Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's going to probably be a high level of spice on this one because I'm quite candidly, it's a little sensitive of a subject for me when people are manipulated into doing things that get them hurt, and then the rest of the country is forced to go through a penance for things that they did at the behest of other people. We're going to walk through the entire thing. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Guys, this is the time that we need to save our country together, and every time you guys engage with the chats, the comments, the emojis, anything with the stream, sharing it out, subscribing, joining, it helps the message go further, and you do your part. And thank you very much for doing that, guys. We're going to dive right into it, and I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing right now is very reminiscent of something. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But it's amazing how even in the light of fact, truth, video angles from multiple different perspectives, you can still come to a preconceived notion of what happened. It doesn't matter. It just depends on your political affiliation. Because a lot of these things that I'm about to show you aren't going to be played up by the media, and that's why we got to spread this stuff out, because let's face it, the media is not going to do it. The notifications aren't going to go out as strong. So let's just go ahead and do it for them. Do the work for them, save our country together, and honest to God, maybe talk about some stuff? Okay, we're going to get into this, guys. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Chats, comments, can't type in emojis, make the world go round. All right, you guys know the rules. Once this is pinned, we are going to be off to the races. I got so much to show you. We're not even going to do an appetizer. I mean, like, honestly, this is such a special case where the ICE agent was discharged his weapon and the woman who was driving the vehicle died. We're just going to dive right into it. Because honestly, the level of politicization and the level of manipulation, lies, and overall just emotional spewing that I'm seeing on the internet right now begs for a direct and total intervention. All right, let's get into this, people. First, I'm going to show you what the one side is, then I'm going to show you actual evidence of the entire thing from multiple different angles, slow everything down, and we're just going to go through this piece by piece. And then I'm going to show you what the left is doing, including declaring war on the United States government from the Minnesota National Guard, and then another one saying F ICE, and then all the Democrats doing what Democrats do. Again, we're going to walk through the entire thing, but it would be really nice if facts actually mattered at some point in time. All right. Let's get into this. Kristi Noem, excuse me. This is the department head. Watch this.
Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues.
All right, so that's the official line. That's what happened. I'm going to show you all the video footage, including the new angles, and we're going to break this down in piece by piece. But before we do, I want to say a little bit of a disclaimer that's really important. I'm not going to disparage anybody in this video. I'm not going to disparage the woman who was shot. I'm not going to disparage the protesters. I'm not going to disparage anybody. However, I do take special exception to the Democrat politicians who are manipulating things like this for their own political gain. They're going to get a little bit. But I'm not going to go after the individual woman. Because I honest to God believe that a lot of these people who are actively protesting, they are actively seeking out ICE, they are actively engaging in this type of behavior, are doing so because they have been told it's virtuous by the left, the Democrats, the far left, the socialists, and the progressives. They've been told on a steady basis that this is the virtuous thing to do, and so therefore they're fighting the Nazi fascist threat. I honest to God believe there's an element of brainwashing here. Okay? So I'm not going to disparage the individual. I'm just going to keep it pretty clean and classy for what you're talking about, until we get to the politicians, in which case all class goes out the window. Okay, let's keep going. That's my little disclaimer. I'm going to show you a few things here. This is really important to know. So, first of all, from my studying of a lot of this footage when we weren't going back and forth all day on X, which, by the way, follow me on X at Braden LOA. The guy that you're seeing right there that's being harassed by the woman in plaid, the woman in plaid is what is being reported as the wife of the woman in that maroon vehicle. The maroon vehicle is the one that was shot today. Okay? So the woman who is following the ICE agent around with a camera in his face saying, get out of our neighborhood, get out of our neighborhood, do all these things, F ICE, while they're blocking the road and they're blocking the ICE agents in, okay? According to Christy Nome, that they were stalking them all day. That guy is the one that discharged his firearm, okay? He's going to go around the right side, and he's going to end up in the front of this vehicle. And I'm going to play this for you. I'm going to kill the audio because I just don't want to I'm just going to kill the audio. So, lots of get the F out. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to put a camera in your face. Lots of cameras. Lots of agitators are there before this happened, which is a dead giveaway to something going on. And right now, and again, I'm just going to show you a few things. Oops. Right now, the officer that you just saw walk to the right of that car has now moved into the front position. I've got multiple camera angles. I'm going to show you all of it. Okay? He is now in front of the car. And the bullet holes, by the way, are in the windshield. So the angle of attack that the left is calling this as a murder, the bullets are in front. They're not in the side. They're in the front. Okay? Now, there's a lot of different pieces you could say to this. Should he have fired? Should he have not fired? Should he have gotten out of the way? Should she have been arrested? Should she have not done this? There's lots of shoulds and shouldn'ts. I'm objectively telling you what happens here and showing you all the facts, okay? Now, as we keep on going, again, I'm going to kill the audio here. This is when it goes off, then she crashes. Okay, we know all about this. We've seen this footage, and if you hadn't, I've got it all linked in the description. There you go. That's the culmination of the event. Now, as we continue to go on to this, again, this is the part where it starts to slow down. This is a different angle of this entire thing. And I'm going to show you in slow motion, these 20 seconds, what occurred. And you can see the person in front of that car is the one that discharges his weapon. So this whole angle that the left is trying to manipulate and trying to get a George Floyd 2.0 kind of reaction. Yeah, they're trying to burn everything down, let it burn, pull the police out of Minnesota. That's what they're doing actively right now. I'm going to show you all that too. So this whole thing is based on this not being true. Don't believe your lying eyes. Believe the emotional narrative on X, okay? Watch this. Again, I'm just going to kill the audio, and I'm going to walk you through this. That first agent, okay, he is the one that is telling this individual, get out of the car, issuing commands to get out of the car. You cannot block an intersection. You cannot do this. It's a felony to do what she's doing actively at this moment. The big defense of the left is, well, she was not committing that felony because she was committing this felony. Right? It's a felony to interrupt a federal agent during their duties and then escape and evade. That's a felony. Going after a police or the law enforcement in a aggressive manner with a vehicle, that's a felony. So either one is a felony. You can't have a felony as the defense for a felony. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's keep on going. I'm going to show you this. Again, the guy right there in the front. See, he just drew his pistol. Not the guy in the hood. Or not the guy in the toboggan, the guy behind him. He actually has his pistol. He has brought it up, okay? The car is moving straight forward. You can see the wheels, okay? As you can see, those wheels are going straight. Fire shots, wheels turn. Okay, that's the slow motion. The guy had to get out of the way, but that's still not a good angle. That's not a good enough angle to go, oh, it's very clear what just happened. I've got another angle for you, and we're going to walk through this entire thing. This one right here is an angle that is obviously down the street, probably about 2 blocks, and you can see exactly what happened from a different angle where you can actually see the front of the car. Now, the left's big narrative on this is ICE just straight up murdered a woman driving away, shot her in the back of the head, and they wanted to murder people, and they were just feeling murdery, and they were gonna because they're the Gestapo, and they aren't identifiable, they don't have any badges on, they were out there just doing bad things, and they wanted to murder people. Okay, if you believe that, you're too far gone. Because that's not all what was happening. But I want to show you exactly, step by step, how this goes down. You can see right here, I'm going to play this in normal motion, then I'll come back in slow motion, a different angle. You can see the guy, if you zoom in, which we're going to, you can see him actually react to getting hit. Okay, that's in slow motion. I'm going to play this for you again, and I'm going to do it real slow. So do you see this guy right here in the top right of that frame? It's grainy, but just bear with me. The car moves, he backs up with it. As you can see right here, he's saying stop and giving commands. The car runs into him, he braces, he takes 3 or 4 steps back and fires through the windshield. Then the car crashes. It is very, very clear that this individual was in front of the car was accelerating, they were ignoring commands, they had been stalking them all day, they were obstructing justice, they were obstructing the road, they were obstructing they were protesting all the ICE activities, they already had a crowd of people there. I'm about to show you even more stuff, but the left is just completely ignoring this. Just like the George Floyd situation. It doesn't matter what you say. If you say anything other than Black Lives Matter, then you're an ist or a phobe of some kind. Facts don't matter once emotion takes over. That's why I'm doing this video, because I'm just showing you everything that's in this thing. So please, I don't think this is going to go very far on its own. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, because your comments, chats, and emojis are what makes this stuff go out, especially when it's this touchy. And here's a little zoomed in effect as well. Look, this is the zoomed in clip. I've now shown you 3 different angles of the same event. Happened very, very quickly. You can see him getting actively backed up, and then he fires through the windshield. There is no doubt that that is what happened. Now, can I sit here and say that absolutely he should have 100% fired? No, I cannot say that 100% because I'm not that individual, right? Can I tell you his intent? Can I tell you his mindset? No, I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is objectively, they had been stalking and harassing them all day. They had been yelling at them all day. There's been a year's worth of threats upon all ICE agents. There was cars involved in another protest to block them from doing whatever they were doing, blowing whistles, screaming F ICE, get out of our neighborhood, you know, the whole works. And then when they're approached and say, get out of the vehicle, they throw it into drive, and you're in front of that car. I can't say I was in that spot, and no one watching the video that can, but I'm going to be honest with you. All those things are going to go through the mindset right then, and if that car impacts you, I can understand a little bit of a threat feeling there. Now, let's keep on going, because this is how they're reacting. Again, we're just now getting into the point before we just start destroying the leftist narrative that is just taking off on this, okay? All right, so let's keep on going. This is what's currently happening in Minnesota. Rioters have just smashed the doors of the federal courthouse in downtown Minneapolis while chanting ICE out now. This is exactly what occurred 5 years ago, okay? Let's just play a little bit of it. So you can see what's happening. That's on the federal courthouse. All right, you get the idea. I don't need to keep on having them chant ICE out now, okay? It's the entire thing. Inflame everybody. Get really, really heavy riled up. Get all the emotion, because we got to start talking about this now, because ICE murdered somebody. Again, I'm going to show you all the political Democrats who are in office in the House who are saying the same thing. I'm going to show you the whole thing. That's when class goes out the window. Then I'm just going to start just wrecking face. Anyway, let's keep on going. This is what they're doing in Minneapolis. Right now, at that scene, this right here is what they're doing. And we're going to touch on this for a second, because this just doesn't seem to connect for me.
Bob, I want to jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now. And we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there, I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here.
Okay. So here's my question to you guys, and this is honest to God a genuine question. If you've got people who are already there, and this is the time and the scene of this event occurring, and they've already got American flags, they're out there, they're already ready to burn them, they've already shut down the city, they've already shut down the block, they're ready to burn American flags to prove a point. Hey, here's a question. What does insulting the American soldiers and all those that gave up their blood, sweat, tears, friends, family, energy, and bodies, and in a lot of cases, just a lot of strife. How does burning an American flag have anything to do with a woman who accelerated her car into an agent, and the agent reacted after she had already been antagonizing the agents the whole time? Again, I don't want anyone to die. I'm not suggesting that. I don't want that to get twisted at all. But you tell me how burning an American flag and that be the number one thing right there in the moment, they were ready for that one. It kind of tells you what kind of people are in the space, doesn't it? Particularly when you already had multiple other agitators who were there filming the whole thing, screaming the whole thing, whistles blowing, cars blocking the roads. I mean, like, guys, this was an agitation. It's exactly what this was. It was a full-on agitation. Okay, let's keep on going. I really don't like the burning of flags. That makes me mad. All right. Super chat from David Yoakum, $2 super chat, said murdered. That's what the left is saying. That this goes along with the defense side of the conversation. Stacks 2183, the $5 super chat. We need to pass a federal law that makes burning the flag illegal. Oh, that is I can't stand burning the flag. Oh my God, it to me it spits on so much sacrifice that I can't. I get a little emotional about that part. All right. So now this part. Someone said arrest them. You know what? That's a funny thing that you mentioned that in the chat, because they're not going to arrest anybody. You know why they're not going to arrest anybody? That's because the liberal control of Minneapolis told the police to completely withdraw from the scene. Yep, watch. You guys getting shades of 2020 right now? Because I'm getting shades of 2020 right now.
And there'll be more videos. We're in a world with lots of videos, which is a good thing for getting to the truth.
Let's look at this live shot that we're seeing right now. We just saw some black vehicle vans moving their way through.
Police are getting pulled out.
And now you see snowballs flying in this group of individuals that are moving. You've got law enforcement in the front of this group that look like they're walking backwards, so they're being pushed, is the way it looks, backwards by protesters who are throwing snowballs at them right now. Let's bring in Victor Avila. Let's stay on this live shot as we bring in Victor, retired ICE special agent, now assistant director for the Office of National Drug Control Policy.
Okay, I don't need to talk to that guy. Sorry, I can do it myself. Honest to goodness, is this just a thing in blue cities? People get emotional, people get upset, and then they start inflaming each other, and then they start burning American flags, and then the police just withdraw from the environment? Is that just a thing in Minneapolis? Because I seem to remember in 2020, most of the city pretty much going up in flames. You know, when Tim Walz's wife was sitting in her recliner, opening the window to smell the burning fumes of the riots. That was an actual quote. What is it about these Democrats that are just nothing but weak? This is going to affect a lot more people, but you'd think they would be turning down that rhetoric, and you'd think that they'd want to say, like, hey, maybe we just not burn everything to the ground. No. Well, I'm going to show you in a second. F ICE, get the F out of Minnesota, get the F out of Minneapolis. National Guard for Minnesota is going against the national federal government. Tim Walz. I'm showing you all of it. It's coming. Oh my God. I got another super chat. Giggles the Clown, $5 super chat. If Tampon Tim sends the National Guards after the feds, wouldn't that be considered treason? I believe indeed that would be considered treason. We're getting at a point now. We're getting at a point where the insanity of the left is so inundated in the Democrat Party that you can't split it out. You can't separate it. They become the machine. I've said so many times that the host is fighting to become the parasite with the left and the progressives and the Democrats. They're the same. I mean, they are that voter block is so extreme and so insane because they just go straight into burning everything down, straight into breaking everything, and the Democrats that are in power just completely throw their hands up in the air and just give up. That's just everything about them is weak. It is pathetic. Cowboy Up, $2 super chat, said, did you see the dude take a full face pepper shot? Oh, I saw. I've been battling with lefties all day on my X account. We saw it. And now this part, this woman is a very interesting interview. Now, also, by the way, the shot on the right side of the screen, that is a shot through the front of the windshield with, I would presume, a 9mm. So the language and the whole they murdered her through the open window thing is kind of debunked when you have an actual bullet hole in a windshield. I mean, because, windshields are usually in front of you, shielding you from the wind. But anyway, don't let facts get in the way. It's emotion. This woman, this is interesting. Because remember what I told you, that she's been agitating all day? And remember when she was part of a group that was agitating all day? And remember when I told you, Kristi Noem told you she was agitating and stalking agents all day? Blocking the roads, actively taking part in protesting to block ICE agents. Yeah, these people are brainwashed by the media, the Democrats, and the left and the progressives to think they're virtuous by putting themselves in the line of danger like this and then aggressively attacking ICE agents, and then something bad and horrible happens. I, honest to God, don't blame this woman for falling for it. I blame the media, the Democrats, and the progressives for amping up the temperature so high that everyone must do something or you're just as bad if. That's what you're dealing with right now. It's a contagion. All right. Let's keep on going. Listen to this real quick. Super chat from Donnie Rose for a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. All right, guys, the emojis, the chats, the comments make everything go better. Watch this. This is going to kind of undermine the narrative you're hearing, which is why I'm saying it, pouring oh my God, are they pouring it on strong. Watch this. Maybe watch this.
I heard some whistles going on out front, so I came downstairs to see what was going on. Wasn't even dressed. And there was a car, the Honda Pilot that's crashed over there now. There was a car blocking the 2 lanes of Portland traffic.
That's the woman's car.
And the ICE agents got out and they were saying, get out of here, get out of here. And she was, what looked like trying to turn around. And the ICE agent was in front of her car and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, car. Like his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face like 3-4 times. And then she must have just stepped on the gas. She stepped on the gas immediately, maybe got like 100 feet or so, and ran into the telephone pole and some cars, and then was slumped over in her car. And you could see she was probably gone. And there was a medic, there was a neighbor who's a physician who was yelling, "Can I please check the pulse?" There was no first responders. There were 0 first responders. They left her in her car, slumped over for about 10-15 minutes, blocking us all. And eventually EMS got here, and they wouldn't let the bus in, so it was just the EMS.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it for a second just to give it a breather for a second. That correlates with everything that we've just seen on multiple different camera angles. Complete correlation. I mean, or corroboration rather, not correlation, corroboration. Everything that has been told to us is literally on 4 or 5 different camera angles, and now you're getting multiple different witness approaches. Okay, I'm not going to trust the witness approaches near as much as I'm going to trust the actual camera angles, because I showed you already what occurred. I wish this woman hadn't died. I wish this woman hadn't been shot. I wish this woman hadn't fallen for the Democrat liberal brainwashing, which made her feel to do these things. But my God, the liberal brainwashing that is happening, and you're going to see more of it in a second. I've got it all queued up for you. All right, let's get back to her. She's providing something. She's going to say something really important in a second.
Workers, and they checked her out for a second, maybe five minutes or so, and then carried her out, no stretcher or anything, carried her out like a sack of fucking potatoes.
Can you describe a little bit about what this woman looked like? Was there anyone else in the car with her? Did you know if she was the target?
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest.
She was the main car leading the protest. Main car leading the protest. Hold on. You're going to catch a theme here.
Is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was
She was very successful at impeding traffic, so they wanted her to get out of there. She was the ringleader of the entire protest against ICE. Are you guys starting to see what's happened here? Her wingwoman, or her wife, was out of the car harassing ICE agents, filming it, get out of our city, get out of our city, get out of our city, like you've seen. She was in the car blocking everything. She was leading the caravan of cars blocking ICE. They had whistles, they had camera angles everywhere. And then the ICE officer was in front. They told her to get out. She disobeyed that direct command because she had been agitating and stalking the agents all day, leading the entire operation. And then she accelerated into the ICE agent, and he returned fire. That's what you're looking at right here. And I'm just going to put it on the record that you got witnesses, you got the DHS director, and then secretary of DHS, and then you also have all the camera footage. I mean, like, guys, this is kind of an open and shut thing. I don't want any of this to happen. But the thing that the left is trying to make it is not reality. ICE did not come in and just decide to murder people. That is not accurate. There is no evidence of that. There is no support of that. There is no video footage of that. There is complete and total video to the contrary. Okay, let's keep on going because now he's going to ask, was she impeding? Listen.
Impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah,
Okay.
that was her goal.
Do you have a read on her demographic?
I think she was a white woman. Looked like I didn't see her when she was alive. Just slumped over in the car. It looked like she had dyed short curly hair. I have a video of her in the car.
Okay, well, that's twisted. I didn't hear that part first. She was achieving what she set out to do. Guys, you can very clearly see exactly what happened here. I don't want this to be the outcome. I want liberals not to do this. I want progressive states to just get in frickin' line and accept the fact that ICE has laws and the executive branch is enforcing the laws. This whole virtuous thing of put yourself in the line of fire until something happens like this and then someone actually dies, or the ICE agent could have been killed, or any of these other people could have been killed, because it's a virtuous thing to do, to resist the machine, resist the fascists and the Nazis. This is what happens when these people gin up all this emotion and then they put people in these positions through subtle drip brainwashing. Super chat from Fred Samuel. Instead of protesting ICE, the morons should be helping them get the illegals. Well, I'm not going to push them to say they have to do that, but they sure as hell shouldn't be blocking traffic, blowing whistles, screaming at ICE agents, harassing them, and stalking them. Sure as hell shouldn't be doing that. But all of this, you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. It's all going to be, how could they have done this? Why'd they murder somebody? Oh my God, ICE did it again. Donald Trump is evil. Donald Trump wasn't even there. Doesn't matter. The point is, they're going to try to use this as emotional manipulation, which they're already doing in full swing. Watch, we're going to get right into this. This one, just check your pulse. You're not dead. You're real. Make sure you're alive, because you're about to hear MS Now, which used to be MSDNC, which used to be MSNBC, literally say, maybe, just maybe, the politicians in Minnesota like Tim Walz and the Mayor Frey shouldn't do what they just did. The liberal media MS Now is saying this. Watch this.
When elected officials get out in front of an investigation and give you their conclusions, I don't know how helpful that is. I hear what the mayor's saying. He's certainly speaking from the heart. But for him to say for ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis, that's not helpful. It's not going to happen. It's just could escalate things. I think that Chief O'Hara said all the right things, but it is certainly brings into question the original DHS narrative that this was in self-defense. And so again, no one should jump to conclusions till the investigation's complete, until we have more information. But all this tells me is that the tensions are high, they're going to remain high, and that the mayor's comments aren't going to reduce any of the tensions between ICE and the city.
Yeah, respectfully, no shit. Because that little twerp got up there and started screaming about ICE get the F out of my city. Okay, that's going to help a whole lot. Governor Walz, which I'm going to show you here in a second, goes out and says, we're at war with the federal government. Get ready for the state guard. I mean, my God. Okay. When the mainstream media through MSNBC or MS Now comes out and says you're jumping the shark, maybe just figure out and wait a second, you might be goofing a little bit. But it doesn't matter. The mayor, Jacob Frey, is all about himself. It's all about optics. It's all about making his national profile rise. I know, because we've dealt with him in the gun control world before a whole lot. Oh, look, speak of the twerp. All right, listen, this is the part where the class is going to take a side seat. We're going to put a little pin in that. I'm going to get my snarky out, because I do not like politicians who manipulate and take advantage of people's emotions for political gain, and you're about to see a whole lot of that back to back to back to back to back. Fair warning. We had the break where I showed you everything that was going on, the whole segment on the front end. Now we're going to have a little bit of a backhand. All right. This is the mayor of Minneapolis. This is Jacob Frey, that little twerp right there in the middle. Oh my God, these soy boys. Okay, here we go. Comments, chats, emojis. I'm going to need you guys on this one to help me get through, because good God.
Collectively are going to do everything possible to get to the bottom of this, to get justice, and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE. We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
Okay. Here's where my Southern's going to come out a little bit. And just fair warning. I am Southern through and through. It's probably not a good idea to say that we knew ICE was going to do these things. Really, you knew that you were going to have a bunch of civilian protesters running around with cars, blocking thoroughfares, blocking ICE agents, challenging them, attempting to run over them, or at least evade very, very close to them with a vehicle. You knew that was going to happen, and that's ICE's fault. That's ICE's fault. That's Trump's fault. That's the federal government's fault for following national orders and national laws that Congress passed, a representative body of the entire population who passed the immigration laws, who is enforced by the executive branch, which has not been done because sanctuary cities and weak-ass Democrat presidents. So you knew all that was going to happen when we started enforcing laws that were on the books. The party of law and order has defunded the police in the last 5 years and now is saying that ICE is a national threat because they're enforcing laws in a sanctuary city. Really? You knew all of that. And ICE just went out and decided to murder somebody. It didn't have anything to do with their actions, didn't have anything to do with self-defense, didn't have anything to do with anything. They were just walking along the road, as someone just said in the comments, they were baking cookies and they were salting the sidewalks to prevent ICE, and ICE just walked up and just shot them cold blood. Nothing else happened. We knew a 37-year-old woman is dead because she was innocently driving to the store to get a loaf of bread and just, my God, and she stopped at a gas station and got some Skittles or whatever thing you want to call it, and innocently all of a sudden was murdered. You really think we believe, does that still work? Because that's a whole lot of bullshit. But anyway, that's not about fact it's not about fact, it's about emotion. Let's continue with the little soy boy twerp. Told you, class is right over here for a second.
So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power.
Okay. You saw the footage and you saw 4 different angles. I know because I just showed it to you. You tell me if that was just an agent using force in a reckless manner for power. That doesn't really check out with all the video footage and all the evidence that is on hand. But, again, facts don't matter. Logic doesn't matter. It's about emotion and what can you glean from it politically. Anyway, these people are still going to get it. I got even more coming. All right, guys, let me hear you in the chats, the comments, the emojis. Of course, if you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. As you can see from what I'm presenting you, the threats to our nation still exist. All right, now, Tim Walz. Oh, this guy. This guy has not had a good month. So this guy has decided that he's going to be at war with the federal government. And that's not my language. He actually said it. I'm going to show you here in a second. But let's go ahead and let little Timmy here start talking. And you guys just tell me when this gets a little uncomfortable and a little beyond the realm of responsibility.
And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
Okay, let's talk about that there, Timmy. Did you just threaten? Hold on, let me get big screen for this real quick. Did this guy just threaten that the National Guard has soldiers that are trained and ready and they're going to deploy within the state boundaries of Minnesota and they're going to what? Combat ICE? They're going to go after what? Federal agencies? They're going to start declaring war on the federal government? Because I seem to remember a party that says that democracy is at threat, and democracy is in question, and democracy is at the breath of destruction, says the guy threatening to deploy the National Guard against the federal government. These people are freaking unhinged. But it's not about calming anything down, because there's nothing politically you can gain in a calm down, rational society. You can only gain things politically when people are emotional, riled up. It's amazing. They'll hand you right there. They'll just give you your rights. They'll give you extra taxes. Throw a little bit of guilt in there. You throw a little bit of power structure complex in there. Man, they'll give you anything. I swear, especially a little bit of dose of fear. Oh, that fear. That is a handy tool for these psychopaths. All right, let's keep on going. Like I told you, I'm going to get spicy. I got like 7 tabs left. We're halfway through, guys. We got to get it. We're Bon Jovi right now, but back to this much despised person.
I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. And from
we will not take the bait as I issue a warning order to the federal government that we're going to declare what? National Guard, martial law, state level stuff? Like, where are you going with this? But at least you're not going to take the bait and make Minnesota a national story. See how much crap this is? It's just, I got more. All right. Super chat from Crash Bandit 9, $10 says, that sounds like an insurrection to me. Thoughts? Oh, I've already told you. It sure sounds like a questionable operation to me as well. Because that might be a big T word if you do that kind of stuff. I mean, you've already said you're not going to run for governor again because you're like knee deep in all the Somali fraud. So I probably don't want to throw on National Guard insurgency against the United States. That's probably not a good touch. I mean, like, honest to God, how's that going to go? You guys tell me in the chat. How do you think that's going to work? You're going to deploy the national or the state level, the Minnesota National Guard, okay, the state guard, if you will, and you're going to what? Say, go get ICE agents, draw battle lines? Like, what are you going to do? Because that is insanely divisive and nutso rhetoric from the very people who think they're going to save democracy. Okay. Oh, hey, look, more. Tim Walz. Who doesn't love this guy?
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case, the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission.
We've never been at war with the federal government before? Are you implying you're at war with the federal government now, Timmy? Is that why you're going to deploy the National Guard at a state level? And they're Minnesotans, so they're loyal to Minnesota, so you're going to declare war on ICE agents or the federal government? Which one? You want to take on the Marines or you want to take on the Air Force? I heard Space Force is an up-and-comer. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you just walk me through this. What do you guys think they're going to do in the chat over here? Because this guy looks like he is so out of sorts that he's just grasping for straws. And that's honest to God what my take is. And then you got little boy wonder, Woody, who came to life from the Toy Story, Jacob Frey, just trying to talk big and tough. Never smelled testosterone in his life. All right, let's keep on going. Goodness gracious. So this part right here, this is an interesting point because Jacob Frey and Tim Walz, they both came out and they just threw gasoline on this whole situation and they completely misrepresented what happened. Don't let any of the facts come out or the investigations come out. Just tell the end result, and that way we can just expect the end result. And when it doesn't happen, they burn the city down again. We haven't seen that before in multiple cities. But anyway, let's go over this little segment here. I think this is pretty important. So let's get this. I'll be like, take a breather. I'm not talking to a Democrat right this second, so we're going to have a little class can come back in.
Interfering with law enforcement type charges, resisting charges, all of those are fairly procedural. It keeps the whole thing at a much lower level, and ICE can do their lawful, emphasis on lawful, jobs. Instead, you got Jacob Frey and the governor and everybody else there piling on to try to make political points. They're creating this circumstance. And I go back to what I was saying earlier. It's time that they answer for this, because from where I sit, they are very close to co-conspirators for this nonsense. And just to wrap it up here, the Fed's got to start making arrests for some of these people who stand in front of the cars like this. These are federal charges that you can bring. If you're going to send in, let's say, 50 ICE officers, well, then send in 100. and the other 50 are there to take the people who impede operations, arrest teams. And this stuff will stop when these people all of a sudden have to face federal charges.
Paul, it would.
I'm curious, what do you guys think about that? Say you needed 50 ICE agents and you just doubled down and you took 100. 100 were like the vanguard. You just arrest all the people who are blocking the roads, just pick them off. You have a paddy wagon back there, you just throw people in it. And then they could just kind of keep on trucking. I don't know, what do you guys think? Because to me, if you'd start having consequences of like non-lethal varieties, like maybe arresting people and getting them out of the way, doing the job that you need to do, continuing to do the things that are amazingly strong for our nation as a whole, I don't know, maybe we wouldn't get to the point where people are dropping, blocking entire protests, like with protesting cars and leading whole enterprises, blocking and harassing ICE agents all day. I mean, my God, guys. I don't know. What do you guys think? You tell me right over here. This is our show, right? Okay. All right, let's keep on trucking. Hold on, make sure I saw that. Super chat. Okay. Super chat from Night Ranger 83, $5 says, sounds like he wants a war with the feds with no regard to life in his state. Right? And that's not what I want. And I'm going to take a breather for a second. I'm going to come down off this emotional high of just dealing with lefties. You have to understand. No one wants this to happen. The right doesn't want this to happen. The left doesn't want this to happen. The independents don't want this to happen. No one wants this to happen. But when you start doing the rhetoric of what you've seen over and over and over and over again, you start to brainwash people to do things like kill leading political commentators and leading political national figures. Kill ICE agents and detainees through sniper nest activities in Austin. Do all of these protest activities, virtue signal across the board, take shots at presidents. When you start to get the rhetoric and the temperature so incredibly high and it's non-stop, and if you stop, your audience and your supporters and your demographics that you're chasing are just going to like drop dead from a no morphine drip, you've got a problem. Don't worry, the Democrats are coming nationally in a second. But anyway, let's keep on going. We got an adventure to go for. Oh, God, here we go. Okay, put class right back over here for a second. I got to deal with those AOC. All right. Here's the thing on these last 4 clips, because they're all national political figures, and I really want to hit this because, again, I've shown you, like I always do in all my videos, I bring you in little breadcrumbs through the entire video to the culmination right here at the end. And what we're about to see is more temperature raising, more aggressive nature, more aggressive rhetoric, more insane rhetoric, non-stop politicization of everything. That's what you're about to see from a lot of leading Democrats, okay? Watch this. Here we go. You already saw it at the state level. Let's go to national level.
So this is now turned into what our greatest fear is and has been for a long time around ICE, that this will be used as an anti-civilian force. That is.
Okay, God, she talks 11 seconds and I can't hear. God, she lies so much. So you knew the whole time you were going to have civilian wandering bands, little outsider groups, little, like the sharks, you knew this whole time you were going to have people protesting these ICE agents? You knew that? Because if you knew that and you knew you were putting them in danger, that would make you complicit. So you knew that, or you knew that the ICE agents were going to react to your catalyst and you were going to come in and pick up the pieces. Almost like when all the progressive DAs let all the criminals out of jails for like 4 or 5 years before Trump, the crime rate went up because no one was going in jail and no one had any sort of consequence, and there was no consequence for multi-felony individuals. And then when crime would go up, they would use that example of why you needed to take more gun rights from the population of the United States because the criminals were using guns. Kind of like that. You knew that was going to happen the whole time. These people are manipulative as the day is long. Hold on, I got to adjust my chat over here because you guys are going too fast for me. All right, here we go. AOC grades on everyone's last nerve. No, she's a hero to like 33% of the population. All right, let's get back to her. I don't want to, but I have to.
Has no accountability. At the end of the day, what we saw today is a murder. And murders in cold blood need to be prosecuted.
Wow. So, the court of AOC has decided that it was a murder. It was a clear and cut murder. I bet you she hasn't even seen the video clips. I bet you she has not spent 10 seconds to analyze anything. I bet you the people who watch these videos, who I and myself have watched more of this than she has, but she just jumps out with the immediate talking point because she knows her little lapdogs in the media will just slap it up. Because, oh my God, ICE, the people who are bad, who are removing people, tearing apart families, oh my God almighty, they actually murdered someone. Yeah, that plays. Let's just say murder forever. There's no consequences for me running my mouth. Oh my God, I'm AOC. I mean, like, yo, you have to understand that they talk about accountability and they talk about justice while circumventing the entire accountability and justice process of what we have through our courts, through the entire investigation process. All of that doesn't matter when they dictate up front that everything is the end result. We've already decided what it is, but we're going to get justice and we're going to get accountability. Well, that's what that entire wing of the government does. It doesn't matter. They're either going to do what we say, and if they don't do what we say because the evidence doesn't bear that out, well, then they are obviously wrong in their corrupt system, and the entire system needs to be brought down, and we need to bring in Vive la Resistance. Revolution. You see how this works? They're going to dictate something up front. They're going to set the tone that it's a murder before the judge gets involved, the jury gets involved, before a grand jury gets involved, before any type of investigation happens. They've already determined the outcome. So when all that stuff doesn't bear out their pre-supported notion, then all of a sudden that court is bad, not them for doing it ahead of time. Exactly what the MSNBC guy was doing. All right, let's keep on going. I can move on past AOC, but it's not much better. It's not much better from here, guys. We're just, it's not. So here's Ilhan Omar saying similar things. And if you guys are one of the 2,000 in here right now, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Of course, emojis, chats, and comments make the world go round and get around that pesky little notification system. All right, let's get it. Ilhan Omar, Democrat rep from Minnesota for now.
And so it is not helpful for us to have ICE agents unlawfully just carrying out these ridiculous raids that are not resulting in any sort of arrests, that have no explanation of why they are there. They are disturbing peaceful communities that are just trying to live out their lives. And I join our mayor and our senator in asking them to get the heck out of our city. And so it
Okay. So on one end, you have mayors and you have reps and saying that it's time for ICE to stop doing their federal obligations. They're going to keep doing it, by the way, but to stop doing their federal obligations because they just don't like, because you're breaking apart families who are just trying to live responsibly and follow the laws, even though they're breaking the law by being here. The very effect of them being here is breaking the law. But other than that, they're trying to live peacefully. It is insane. It's insane. That's one group of them. The other group of them, Tim Walz specifically says, I'm going to call it the National Guard and declare war on the federal government. Okay, Tim. And then after that, Jacob Frey's going on CNN tonight. I'm going to have to look at that. Oh, God. And then on the other half, you've got, it was a murder. Everyone knows it was a murder. It was obviously a murder. AOC said it's a murder, so it's a murder. Why do we need an investigation if it's a murder? I mean, like, guys, they're all over the place, and it's all emotion, and it's all stupid. Oh, my God, look, a socialist. I forgot he was in here. Look, he did it too. Watch this.
First, just want to make clear that the news coming out of Minneapolis is horrific. This is one part of what has been a year full of cruelty. And we know that when ICE agents attack immigrants, they attack every single one of us across this country.
Attack. And I see those two super chats. Hold on one second. I'll get those to you guys. Attack. You hear that? When ICE agents attack. When ICE agents murder. ICE agents, you aren't wanted here. Are you catching all the coded language they're dropping? Because these are all languages of criminals. These are all languages describing criminal actions. They're not. They're law enforcement. They're literally doing congressionally passed laws. But because they don't like them, ICE is now Nazi Gestapo, not marked. They didn't know who it was. It was just a woman strolling on the street. No, it's not. It's not the case. And I'm going to continue to say it's not the case and show you it's not the case because it's an abject lie based on false information in order to get a dedicated and determined political outcome, which is nefarious and lies. Okay, let's keep on going. Back to the Wonder Boy here. Watch this.
This is a city and will always be a city that stands up for immigrants across the 5 boroughs. And I have made it clear to everyone within my city government, and that extends to NYPD, that we are going to uphold our sanctuary city policies. We are going to adhere to them. That is why one of the 11 executive orders that we signed was to repeal the previous administration's order to allow for collaboration with ICE on Rikers Island. What we are going to be doing is following the laws that we have set, laws which have kept New Yorkers safe.
Okay. So, God in heaven, like this, it's so insane and so idiotic, it's laughable. So you're going to continue to hold a sanctuary status. Okay. When you get people who have been arrested, as in criminals, actually in your systems, jail systems, Rikers Island, your big virtue signal is you're not going to tell ICE. So they either go back out onto the street being an illegal and a criminal, or they stay in Rikers Island or in the jail system and they're just fed forever because the taxpayer system is feeding that because you're a sanctuary city and we're trying to make New York safer. Okay. Again, I got land for sale in Arizona. It's oceanfront. It's got a bridge and it's amazing. You can actually like zip line up to the moon. It's incredible. I'll sell it to you for a very low price. I mean, my God, guys. Anyway, let's keep on going. We got more. Actually, I'm gonna get these 2 super chats real quick. Then Mom Kami can figure him out. Okay, hold on a second. All right, Jeremy Willis with a $20 super chat says, "We'll keep leering Omar is an idiot." That's a good little poke on the whole like Nick. What's that guy's name? Nick Shirley's report. And Night Ranger, so with a $20 super chat, says she wants to prosecute an agent that was doing his job. How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. I'm glad you guys are on the same page. All right, back to the Kami Mandami.
And we are going to make it clear to each and every person in the city what their rights are. That's why we took the time to make a Know Your Rights video, because it goes back to the earlier question.
What rights?
If you don't know of your rights, then how can you be expected to actually use those rights? So we are going to take every opportunity we have to inform New Yorkers of what they already can do, and also to make it clear to our own city government agencies and departments across the board, including NYPD, that we are not here to assist ICE agents in their work. We are here to follow the laws of New York City.
Socialism with a smile. Who doesn't love that? So they're just going to keep doing sanctuary city. Oh, look, a national representative again. This one, I think, is Angie Craig. Yep, Democrat, Minnesota. Look, more. President Trump, ICE. They killed a woman, murdered her. Watch. Like, guys, this is an endemic issue.
President Trump and his administration will try to justify their meddling in Minnesota, and they will continue to lie and say it's about keeping folks safe. But Minnesotans know that isn't true. It's a flat-out lie. Today, the president's political stunt got a woman killed. Trump's actions have never been about keeping people safe. They've never been about catching criminals.
It literally is about catching criminals, by definition. But don't worry, guys. We're going to find a way to tie it back to Trump, because here's how you do it. It's very simple. Donald Trump deployed ICE. And because ICE was following the laws of the land, it's not Congress's fault for passing those laws. No, it's Donald Trump's fault for executing those laws, which is his constitutional requirement. So because he enforced those laws, then it goes to the ICE agents. The ICE agents were out doing what they were supposed to be doing, and they knew the whole time that there was going to be a roving band of young or individual white females right in that sweet spot demographic that were going to be out there inhibiting them and following them and stalking them. They knew they were going to do that. In fact, they knew so much that they were going to be aggressive with their tactics and their language and their video filming and all of their positioning, that they stood in front of the cars knowing that they were going to accelerate into them in an effort to evade capture because they were ignoring commands. They knew all of that. And that's why they went. It wasn't about keeping people safe. So they knew all of that. It was premeditated, and Donald Trump's little stunt got a woman killed because they knew all of that going forward. It's not about the actions of the individuals. No. It's about the actions of fulfilling the laws of the United States. See how stupid this is? We've already shown 2.2 million people the door. There's going to be more of them. I don't want this to happen because of this type of rhetoric, because these people are trying to score political points, because everything that matters to them is political power. They want the house back. A woman died. Ooh, opportunity for house back. Y'all, it's really gross, and I think I got one more for you. Oh, yeah, I do. This guy's 10 pounds in a 9-pound bag. This is Dan Goldman. Dumps gas on a fire. Oh, my God, look, it's just a flat-out murder. Okay, let's take it, Dan. Thank you for the emojis, the chats, and the comments, guys. It makes life go. All right, here we go. No? There we go.
Invading our cities.
Invading.
Using excessive force.
Excessive force.
Lawlessly. with new agents without proper training. And
training.
Sadly, this was not unexpected, but it is egregious. It was an outright murder. And the fact that the administration is trying to defend the ICE officer when everyone can see with their own eyes that that car was trying to get away because it still turned away from the officer after she was shot in the head.
Y'all hearing this? Because I can do the videos again. I can show you 3 different angles of this thing. The car literally hit the officer. Outright murder, obviously. Why? Because Donald Trump was involved. So obviously he's nefarious and evil and he hates everything that exists. So obviously it was an outright murder. Yet another Democrat politician setting the rhetoric on fire for their own political gain and their own little talking point, their own little clip on X and their own little exposure for their own campaigns. It's all about their own power. That's the entire thing. But it was an outright murder. The people who want jurisprudence, the people who want due process for every illegal, they don't want due process for anybody else involved. They don't want to have an investigation. They are judge, jury, and executioner. And if anything else that happens contradicts that, that's stupid because they're right. See how this works? Let's continue. Come on, Dan. I can't wait till you get ousted by your left.
So the fact that they are arguing that somehow this is domestic terrorism, much less an attack on ICE, is preposterous.
You saw the video.
This officer not only needs to be fired and suspended, but based on the video, he needs to be charged with murder.
And do you think that will happen?
I have no idea what will happen.
I have no idea what will happen, but I got my talking point in. Did you clip it? Did you make sure you aired that? Was it live? These people are so disingenuous. They are such snakes. Oh my God, politicians are such snakes. All right, got another super chat. Here we go. David Yoakum with $10 super chat says, no mag dump, just a single FAFO. Guys, the thing is, what you're looking at right now is emotional activation, rhetoric increase. Everyone's guilty. That guy should be fired. That guy should be involved in murder charges. That guy should be arrested. Based on what investigation and based on what evidence? Again, I'm going to wrap this entire little segment with, I don't want this to happen to anybody. I don't want ICE agents to have an increase of death threats by 8,000%. I don't want ICE agents to have an increase of violent attacks by 1,300% or 13,000%. 13,000? I think it was 13,000. I don't want any of that. But when you get in the way and you put yourself in this type of situation, you are setting the table for very bad things to happen, no matter how virtuous you think you are. I don't want this to happen. But if an armed agent is on edge after being yelled at and stalked and harassed, and then you're there in front of your car and you accelerate directly towards them, whether you have the intent to go sideways or not, it takes a split-second decision of threat to make a very bad situation ended. And that's the whole point. These people are actively manipulating these people through their emotions to go out there and do something virtuous and put themselves on the line so they can come in and they can have the media soundbite clip afterwards. Because after all, it's all about stopping Donald Trump, the new Hitler. Y'all, it's so gross. One more super chat. Cowboy Up, Texas Forever, $2 super chat says, the biggest hypocrites in history vote blue. Yeah, you're not wrong. You were not wrong on that one. But honestly, guys, another super chat. Hold on. Roadrunner, $5 super chat said they call self-defense murder because it fits their narrative. Yes, that's exactly correct with little FAFO. And, there's going to be lots of clips on this. There's going to be lots of breakdown on this. I'm sure we're going to talk about this a whole lot, but I'll be honest with you. I thought we were going to talk about the Nicolas Maduro thing a whole lot, but that seems to have removed from the news cycle because that was a good thing for Trump. So I guess we'll talk about this for a hot minute, and that's when we're going to go forward because we're going to save this country together. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I love each and every one of you just the right amount that makes you feel comfortable. Make sure you send this out and share this out yourselves because this type of stuff doesn't typically go very far in the YouTube algorithm for, I'm sure, questionable reasons. But listen, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. We're going to continue grinding and saving this country together. I'm Braden. See you later.